do I suck at this so bad? Hi friends, today's a very exciting day. I'm finally moving into the forest section of my table display. And if you've seen my last couple of videos, I've been doing so much in the medieval village. I've made an incredible amount of progress, I think, and learned a ton. But I'm just kind of ready for a little change of scenery and I'm ready to get into the forest. It is just kind of a dumping ground of sets right now and could use a little bit of love. And I think there's no better place to start than this perfect tree. This was gifted to me by my husband back in May for my birthday, hence the bows. And it's just been sitting here in a box, taunting me, waiting to be put together. And I think today is finally the day. I have so many childhood memories playing this game. Like this is just pure nostalgia, Ocarina of Time specifically. And that's just what I think would be a perfect centerpiece to the forest. Somewhere in the deepest, thickest part, the middle of the forest, something that maybe someone wouldn't necessarily know where it is, but might stumble upon it after being lost and walking around for hours. That's where I want this tree to be, in kind of this setting in the forest, which I think is just perfect. In this video, I want to get this built. I also really want to revisit the layout for the forest. Like I said, it's a dumping ground, everything is everywhere, and I want to kind of get base plates in mostly their home where I kind of want it to be and get a few things laid out, just looking a little bit nicer, and maybe, you know, build a few other little touches that will help bring the forest, at least start to bring it to life. So first things first, let's get this tree built. As someone who has played Ocarina of Time countless times, this was such a treat to put together. So many details and Easter eggs from the game. It really took me back and it was so much fun seeing those in Lego form. And I mean, come on with this. Young Link, like I'm dying. That shield, it is just so cute to see this as a minifigure. I'm so excited to get this on the table. And to get started with that, I really want to make sure that I'm getting it added into a Mills plate. But something that I did decide to do was keep the base of the set. So it's already on a brick and plate height. And I decided to keep that because this does come in that 2-in-1 option. There is the Breath of the Wild tree with all the pink limbs and leaf pieces. And if the feeling strikes, I want to be able to move this over into the Breath of the Wild set without having to take apart the entire base plate. So my thought is, if I can keep this intact like this, then I can just kind of slide it into or slot it into the base plate, maybe cover up a couple holes with other plates, but really minimal, and it's easy to pop those off, take this whole thing out, and then rework the tree as needed. So that's kind of my goal. We'll see what happens, but I think if I can do that, that'll be really easy for me. So I think that's where I want to get started so that I can get this on the table.
After determining the location of the tree, this started out like any other Mills plate, making stacks of 3 bricks around the set and then adding the 4x4 plates to top it all off. Since the set has that base of 1 brick and plate, I wanted to only add 2 bricks under it so that it would make the whole thing sit 1 plate higher than the rest of the base plate, and I feel like it makes it look like it was just built right on top anyway. It was right about here that I realized that even though I had just put the Deku Tree together, I apparently blacked out the instructions entirely because I was thinking that I needed to be able to extract the entire set from the base plate to change it to the Breath of the Wild tree. But when my temporary amnesia was lifted, I remembered that the instructions don't even deviate until like halfway up the tree. So everything on the bottom is completely the same, and I can very much just leave the tree rooted into place when I want to swap it out. At the end of the day though, I don't think that I would change how I did it, but mentally it felt like I needed to make this way more complicated than it needed to be. To finish this all off, I removed the curved bricks under all of the curved plate and then filled in those gaps with more green brick. And if you ask me, the tree looks pretty seamlessly integrated. It's a very small thing, but I'm really happy with how it came out. Of course, the Deku Tree deserves to live on a base plate a little more zhuzhed up than this. And being the deepest part of that forest, I really wanted to use primarily dark green or earth green limbs and leaves around the outside to create this thick, viney ground cover that would be hard to kind of get through, and hopefully also to represent where the tree line will start. Also, blending in some fern elements that are already used in the set just for some cohesion among all of the greenery. I really want to evoke a bright and magical feel when you enter this clearing, so creating a gradient from dark to light, I think, gives that impression that one has stumbled out of the unknown and into something supernatural, but also still safe and good. And with some of that detailing out of the way, I want to clean up my forest section of the table. Let's get all of this mess out of here and figure out exactly where to plant my Deku tree along with the rest of the forest landmarks. Back when I was young and naive a whole year ago, I planned on separating the table in 3 sections, with Harry Potter on the left, a medieval village on the right, and of course the forest in the middle. I had hoped to fit a lot of stories, like a mushroom village, Forestman's hideout, a fairy grove, Winnie the Pooh's house, gnomes, Robin Hood, and so many other little scenes throughout. Noticeably, there was no spot for the Deku tree because when I started this project, I thought I could easily slot it into that plan, no problem. But while I was cleaning and moving things around, as insane as this sounds, 21 base plates for the forest is nothing. Playing with the layout and putting 2 sets next to each other was crowded and left no room. I even tried putting some trees in between to see if that helps, and in my opinion, it just was not enough to separate the stories and added to that clutter. Let me know what you guys think here, but I kind of started thinking 2 things. 1, I need to pare back a bit on what is going in this area with the current size, and 2, I actually want to allocate even more space for the forest. This sadly means that the Harry Potter area is going to be relegated to just a corner, but I am justifying this by telling myself that it is a highly detailed section and an extremely recognizable IP, so I need to do it justice. This is also temporary. The table will expand eventually, and I have so many more things that I want to add, and Harry Potter is absolutely part of that. This layout has got some breathing room, and that still allows for smaller stories to take place in between those main sets. The Mushroom Village can now actually be a village, having its own corner, while also keeping roughly a base plate of room around each of the sets. And because I'm still learning, this entire display is extremely malleable. I would love one day to create detailed plans before going into a build. That is absolutely a goal of mine. In the meantime, I've got to be okay with build, destroy, repeat. That is how I'm going to learn best.
Seeing the table with all of the mess cleared away, all of the Lego that was just laying down, not being really used or displayed in the right way, what I would consider the right way, how I want it to be. Oh, it just makes me so happy. Like, I feel like I can take a deep breath in here. It's so nice and clean, although minimal, and there's lots of work to still do. But seeing everything actually laid out and the space that I have, it's so helpful, but it makes me have many thoughts. First and foremost, I still need to buy 3 more base plates. It looks like I've put out everything that I have, and I have 3 spots that need some love. I also, like I said, really tried hard to keep that buffer zone kind of around each of the different landmarks, but I'm not able to fully do it here with the Winnie the Pooh set. It's really close. I would still love to have a bit more of a gap between it and the Deku tree, but it is what it is. It's the table size that I have, and I still want it to be there, but I don't want it any closer to the village. 1 base plate I thought would be enough, and again, just seeing that, I'm like, oh, it's not that much buffer, really. We're using the space that we have, and it's Lego, it's fantasy, it's fiction, it's the story I get to create, and it's the story I have. So we're going with it. It's all gonna be fine. And I think with the tree line right there for the forest, that'll help kind of cover it up and won't feel like it's right there next to the medieval village. So we'll make that work. But I have things like the Hocus Pocus house or the Shire. I mean, there's literally so many sets that I think fit into this magical forest. So one day we will get there. In the meantime, I'm so happy with this. Okay, so I also really want to make sure that I'm adding the Master Sword pedestal. I love that this is like a cool little extension to the Deku Tree set, and it was built to be displayed right in front, just kind of setting it in with these Technic pins. But I was also originally kind of thinking that I would put it somewhere else in the forest and set it up in like a fairy fountain scene. But I just really don't know where else in the forest that would go right now without feeling like it's too close to the forestman's hideout or too close to all the Harry Potter stuff. So I think I am going to go ahead and still place it right in front of the tree. And that makes sense because there's some water here. It can kind of connect to the stream that I have up there right now. And, I'm keeping it modular. I can always change my mind later. So I think that makes the most sense, question mark. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm fully bought in, but like I said, it's modular. I can always change my mind later. So definitely need to make sure I get the master sword into the forest. Cool. Oh, why do I suck at this so bad? That could have been so bad. Oh my God. I'm honestly so sad that I did not capture that on camera. I just didn't fully have it on the table before letting go, and it all just kind of came toppling over the edge, and I don't even fully know how I managed to grab it at the last second. All things considered, could have been so much worse. My God. But it's in place. Everything's fine. It's almost like it never happened. And so let's do a little bit of detailing.
I did my best to get this to blend and align with the rest of the tree using the same technique with the limbs, leaves, and ferns. I also want the tree to be a central spring for the water, so leaving a pathway on either side so it can flow around the tree and make its way to both the Mushroom Village and the Black Lake later on. And I think that water will come in the next video, but that is at least the plan. I recently asked you guys what type of Mills plate edging I should do, and most of you agreed. Try to make it like what's under the ground right there, if not even making an entire underground scene where possible. Essentially, just make it detailed. With the Master Sword plate being on the edge, I want to give it a go at covering up these Mills bricks. I have a ton of these little brown stick pieces, so that plus a bunch of brown brick and some vines hopefully will give me kind of an underground look and feel. There's always some level of trial and error, and I feel like it could still look better, but I'm not entirely sure how yet, but it is definitely a start. Having this done before putting more pieces on top of the base plate would have been a smart decision, but thankfully there wasn't too much to undo, just pulling up that edge. And I have to say, I think this really looks good, and to have a finished edge and not staring at all of the colorful brick really puts a nice polish touch on this edge.
Admittedly, it just looks so much better than all of the exposed bricks on the side of the Mills plates, which, I mean, I knew it would, but now actually seeing it and having it, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. It wasn't the biggest pain to take off all those plates off the edge, but it would definitely be easier to incorporate before putting more Lego on top. But all in all, not too bad. So I'm in the middle of buying some more parts for the water. So I think that I can get that all connected. And that I think will look a lot better because right now this is looking very flat, just with all of the grass. But definitely once I get some trees in here, which I'll add last, because otherwise they're just going to get in the way and I'm going to knock them over because I flail my arms and hands. So that'll be the last thing I add, which I think will add a lot of character and dimension to this meadow Deku Tree plate. With that being said, I'm definitely in the mood to go play some Zelda. So I think it's time to bust out the Switch, get some Ocarina of Time going. And thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys seriously make this so much fun to do. I never thought people would care about what I'm building and how I'm building it. So getting your guys' reactions and suggestions really helps me. So thank you all. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.